Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of the 33%. This is episode 8 of Talking Nerdy with Ruff. I'm Ruff, and today I'm going to give you a few reviews. We're going to start with Transformers The Last Night, Moonrise Kingdom next, and then Bloodline. Bloodline's on Netflix right now. Moonrise Kingdom, I don't think streaming. You can probably get it off of Amazon Video maybe, and Transformers Last Night's on Hulu. Before I dive into the review about Transformers Last Night, I'm going to say most of the Transformer movies get terrible reviews, but it's obvious that some people still enjoy them, or else they couldn't keep making them. And I for one, this one's a little longer than most of the ones, or not most of them. I think they're all pretty long, but it's longer than what I would like. It's 154 minutes, I think. It's just a little over 2 hours, but it's just a fun movie. I mean, they're not groundbreaking movies. If you've seen the first Transformer movie, you can pretty well figure out what's going to happen in this one. There's a little bit more of a plot, and we'll dive into that now. In 484 AD, King Arthur and his knights battle against the Saxons. Elsewhere, Merlin approaches the Knights of Icon, a group of Transformers hiding on Earth, to help win the war. They hand him an alien staff before transforming together into Dragonstorm, warning Merlin that a great evil will come for the staff. So basically, it's rewriting in the Transformers universe, which would be the Hasbro universe, because they share theirs with G.I. Joe, Rom, Space Knight, Transformers, Mask, I think it's Micronauts. I think Micronauts 2 is part of that universe. Anyways, in that existence or realm, however you want to say it, Merlin and all his magical stuff isn't just magic. He has power with the Transformers. It's kind of crazy to me. I didn't particularly like that. And they made them all transform into the one three-headed dragon. And then later, when they needed, more help, they didn't turn back into this great three-headed dragon, which I thought was kind of useless. I feel like they could have streamlined that a little bit more, because there's a lot of talking and unnecessary to the plot, which there are in all movies to a certain extent, but this one, it goes a little overboard. I still enjoyed it. I'm just saying objectively, they could streamline a lot more and make it a better story. In the present, a year after the Hong Kong uprising, Optimus Prime crash lands on Cybertron and meets his alleged creator, Quintessa. She blames Optimus for Cybertron's destruction and brainwashes him into helping to gain Merlin's staff, which can absorb Earth's energy to restore Cybertron. Earth is revealed to be the slumbering Unicron, whose horns are emerging across the planet. On Earth, Transformers remain unwelcome amongst humanity, apart from in Cuba, and are hunted by the Transformers Reaction Force, a paramilitary force manufactured from the fallen Cemetery Wind. Cade Yeager, an ally to the Autobots, helps hide refugees from TRF in his remote junkyard in the war-torn Chicago. Cade, Bumblebee, Streetwise Scavenger, Isabel, and her Transformer companions Squeaks and Canopy help a group of children evade the TRF drones, but Canopy is killed. Cade receives a mechanical talisman from a dying Autobot knight and has a brief standoff with the TRF before heading back to his junkyard with Isabel and Squeaks. Both Megatron and American military become aware of the talisman value and power, reluctantly joining forces to obtain it. A group of Decepticon prisoners are released to aid in the mission. They had a little meeting with Megatron, like they're in the middle of the desert, and it's the head of the TRF, and Megatron, he's like, I need some people to help, and they're like, well, okay, who do you need? And he asks for one, and they're like, alright, yeah, he's here, and it shows them releasing him. They ask for another one, they're like, no, you're not getting him, there's no way. And then the guy's like, obviously Megatron kind of pisses him off. He's like, well, let me call somebody, one of the other, not the main TRF guy. And he calls, he's like, okay, we got that cleared. And then he said, another one they released, the next one, they're like, no, the main guy's like, no, I'm not giving you him. There's no way. He'd been looking at the others like, is that one okay? No. That one, he's like, no. I don't remember what he done. It tells a little bit about all of them, but and they could make. See, why don't they make movies like little shorter, an hour movies, hour and 20-minute movies that are just dealing with single. Just if they want to expand their universe and their characters and keep them in the media, just make shorter movies with not as much special effects. Just have a couple of the Decepticons and tell a little bit of story about what they've been doing, what they've been messing up. Anyways, the Decepticons and TRF locate Cade's hideout thanks to a tracker that TRF had planted on Bumblebee during the standoff. Cade, his assistant Jimmy, Isabella, and Squeaks flee from the Decepticons and TRF into an abandoned town where the Autobots ambush their enemies and defeat them with Cade, Jimmy, and Isabella. With Cade, Jimmy and Isabella battle a unit of TRF drones. Cogman, a steampunk transformer, approaches Cade and invites him to travel to the United Kingdom and meet his employer, Sir Edmund Burton, who has connections to the Transformers. Burton also has his associates Hot Rod bring Vivian Wembley, a University of Oxford English literature professor, to his estate. Along the way, Hot Rod gains an alternative form. Decepticons. They found them. This is one of the little things that did bother me about this movie. They found these Autobots because in the first standoff at the very beginning of the movie, they had a guy shoot a tracking beacon on the Bumblebee's spoiler, and he didn't. These Autobots are hyper aware, somewhat sensitive beings, and he didn't feel a tracker, which is probably about the size of a $50, being shot with a rifle because the guy had a scope and was way off to the side onto his spoiler. I feel like that was kind of almost a cop out. Like, I feel like there could have been a better way for them to find him. It would have made more sense. That didn't make much sense to me that they could do that and him not notice. I mean, I feel they could absolutely do it, but I feel like he'd notice, or he should be able to. Bringing Cade, Vivian, and Bumblebee together, Burton explains that Transformers have been aiding mankind in war for centuries. Their existence hidden by a secret society of historical figures known as the Order of the Witwickens, and that he is the last surviving member. The Talisman can lead to Merlin's staff, buried with him in a Cybertronian spacecraft hidden at the bottom of the sea. However, only a direct descendant of Merlin can wield it. Revealing Vivian is the last in his bloodline, the TRF and the local authorities discover them, forcing them to flee. Following a series of clues while evading their pursuers, the group all head to the Royal Navy Museum. There, Cade, Vivian, Bumblebee, and Cogman commandeer the HMS Alliance. After Burton shuts the attraction down, evicts Taurus and reveals the submarine itself as a transformer to find the spacecraft, followed by the TRF in their own submarines. Alright, so I don't remember the character's name, but Shia LaBeouf's character in the first, I believe, 3 Transformer movies. Then eventually they kind of write off because he keeps getting crazier and crazier and nobody believes him and he's all by himself. But I think it was Sam Witwicky. I know it was something Witwicky. I feel like, personally, that this guy Cade, no, not Cade, Burton, should have somehow got to Sam Witwicky and told him, like, hey man, you're not crazy. This is all linked together. There's a whole secret society. We've been doing this for thousands of years. Instead of just letting the kid, deal with it all by himself. It was obviously important enough that they found Cade because Cade had the talisman. I mean, Do they just not they don't talk to each other? Or I don't understand it. It don't. That's not really. That don't make sense to me. How he could be, because he was a Witwicky. He's one of the Witwickies, and he wasn't part of this secret group that works with Transformers. But Bumblebee was with him. And in these episodes, it's revealed that the Transformers done all kinds of stuff before. They was integral in World War II. Bumblebee had another name, like some number, ZB7 or something, and they they had been integral parts throughout history. So, but it's still not explained, like the Arthurian knight that was hiding. You're made to figure they're by themselves. There's not more Transformers with them, but sometime the other Transformers come, and then sometimes the Decepticons come. It don't really streamline everything together. It didn't for me. It made it more. The movie by itself is enjoyable, but as a whole, in the continuity of the Transformers universe, it's kind of muddled up. I don't, and now they're making a Bumblebee standalone film. I don't know if it's going to be an origin story. If it's an origin story, it'll be maybe it'll clear some stuff up. Burton later contacts Seymour Simmons, both learning that Earth is Unicron, and the staff will be used to drain the planet's life via an access point hidden under Stonehenge. Locating the ship, Cade and Vivian discover Merlin's tomb and obtain the staff. Vivian activates it, causing the spacecraft to become airborne, awakening the Knights of Icon. As the TRF try to take the staff from them, Optimus arrives, forcing them to surrender the staff. Bumblebee and Cade confront Optimus, who engages in battle with Bumblebee. Just as Optimus is about to strike a killing blow, the formerly mute Bumblebee begins speaking in his own voice, stirring Optimus's memories and freeing him from Quintessa's control. Megatron and Nitro Zeus then ambush Optimus, Bumblebee, and Cade, and Megatron steals the staff from Optimus. The Knights try to execute Optimus for his presumed betrayal. Cade stops them when the talisman transforms into Excalibur, and the Knights yield to him. Burton tries to stop Megatron as he activates the staff at Stonehenge, only to be mortally wounded by Megatron. Burton then dies peacefully with Cogman at his side. The Autobots and human military forces converge on Stonehenge. They then engage the Decepticons and Quintessa's minions on Cybertron, who either flee or are killed, while Quintessa is seemingly destroyed by Optimus and Bumblebee. The worlds are then saved upon Vivian removing the staff, and the Autobots leave Earth to rebuild what is left of Cybertron. In a mid-credits scene, Quintessa, who has survived in disguise as a human, approaches a group of scientists inspecting one of Unicron's horns, offering a way to destroy him. It's a good movie, and it's got Anthony Hopkins in it, and it's got Anthony. I don't know how to screw that. Yeah, Hopkins. I was right. Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg's generally. I generally like Mark Wahlberg, and most of the rest of the people I don't think is huge names. It does have. It added John Goodman as Hound. He's one of the Autobots. I really like John Goodman in it. He's got a cigar, and I enjoyed it. But overall, I enjoyed it. It got let's see. It was met with a generally unfavorable reception from critics. It's got an approval rating of 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. Is the worst reviewed film of the Transformers series. At the 38th Golden Raspberry Awards, it was nominated for 10 awards, including Worst Picture, Worst Director, and Worst Actor for Mark Wahlberg, but did not win any. Grossed $605 million worldwide, over a budget of $217 million, making it the lowest grossing film of the franchise. So it still made money. People still like it, and I think this and the Ninja Turtle movies, they're kind of the same. Same people are going to go watch them. That's what they want to watch, is a fun shoot 'em up, blow everything up movie that's not a western. It's maybe futuristic or current and different aspects. I mean, they're a form of sci-fi like action movies, and it fills a void where there's not really many of those. I mean, there's not. you don't have a Vin Diesel franchise in space besides the Chronicles of Riddick, and the other one was 2 or 3 of those movies. But and I didn't enjoy them, but cause it was more of a serious. Anyways, next I'm gonna do Moonrise Kingdom. We'll shift gears here a little bit. This is directed by Wes Anderson, who I really like. He's done a lot of good movies. In September of '65, on the New England island of New Penzance, 12-year-old orphan Sam Shikuski is attending Camp Ivanhoe, a khaki scout summer camp led by Scoutmaster Randy Ward. Susie Bishop, also 12, lives on the island with her parents, Walt and Laura, both attorneys, and her 3 younger brothers in a house called Summer's Inn. Sam and Susie, both introverted, intelligent, and mature for their age, met in the summer of '64 during the church performance of Noyes Floodle and became pen pals. The relationship became romantic over the course of their correspondence. They made a secret pact to reunite and run away together. They hike, camp, and fish in the wilderness with the goal of reaching a secluded cove on the island. Meanwhile, the khaki scouts have become aware of Sam's absence, finding a letter that he left behind stating he has resigned his position as a khaki scout. Scoutmaster Ward tells the khaki scouts to use their skills and set up a search party and find Sam. Eventually, a group of khaki scouts confront Sam and Susan and try to capture them. During the resulting altercation, Susan injures the scouts' de facto leader Redford, and a stray arrow fired by one of the scouts kills Camp Ivanhoe's dog Snoopy. The scouts flee, and Sam and Susie hike to the cove, which they name the Moonrise Kingdom. They set up camp, and as romantic tension between them grows, they kiss repeatedly. Susie's parents, Scoutmaster Ward, the scouts of Camp Ivanhoe, and Island Police Captain Duffy Sharp find Sam and Susie in their tent at the cove. Susie's parents take her home, and when Sharp contacts the foster parents, they tell him they no longer wish to house Sam. He stays with Sharp while they await the arrival of social services, an otherwise nameless woman who plans to place Sam in a juvenile refuge and explore the possibility of treating him with electroshock therapy. The Camp Ivanhoe Scouts have a change of heart and decide to help the couple. Together they paddle to a neighboring St. Jack Wood Island to seek out the help of cousin Ben, an older relative of one of the scouts. Ben works at Fort Lebanon, a larger khaki scout summer camp at St. Jack Wood Island, run by Commander Pierce, who is Ward's superior. Ben decides to try to take Sam and Susie to a crabbing boat anchored off the island so that Sam can work as a crewman and avoid social services. Ben performs a wedding ceremony, which he admits is not legally binding, before they leave. Sam and Susie never make it onto the crabbing boat. Susie's parents, Captain Sharp, social services, and the scouts of Fort Lebanon, under the command of Scoutmaster Ward, pursue them instead. A violent hurricane and flash flood strike, and Sharp apprehends Sam and Susie on the steeple of the church in which they first met. Lightning destroys the steeple, but Sharp saves them. During the storm, Sharp decides to become Sam's legal guardian, allowing him to stay on New Penzance Island and maintain contact with Susie. At Summer's End, Sam is painting a landscape of Moonrise Kingdom. Susie and her brothers are called to dinner. Sam slips out of the window to join Sharp in his patrol car and tells Susie that he will see her the following day. So it's just a cute little, they're kids and they're in love, so they run away. It's just a really cute, awesome movie, and it's a Wes Anderson movie, so it's really well wrote and well shot. I enjoy all his movies. It's so good. The Grand Budapest Hotel. I mean, he's got a ridiculous list. The Royal Tenenbaums, Life Aquatic, Steve Zissou, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Moonrise Kingdom, Grand Budapest Hotel again. Isle of Dogs just recently come out. I ain't got to see it yet. He's just, if you hadn't seen any of his movies, I'd suggest going and watching this. And I don't think it's on Netflix. It was, I'm pretty sure it was at one time. Fantastic Mr. Fox was too. Fantastic Mr. Fox is a really good movie. It's claymation, and it's just a fun, cute movie. They're kids. They're in love. They run away. He runs away from camp. She runs away from home, and then it turns out, well, he causes, the little boy causes some problems on and off through just being a little kid, and he's a foster kid, it turns out, and they don't want it, his foster parents don't want him back, and there's, well, what's going to happen? Social services is going to come get him, he's never going to see her again, and he ends up the sheriff adopts him. I mean, it's just a fun, good-hearted, it's a good little movie. I really enjoyed it. Next, we've got Bloodlines, or Bloodline is the actual name of this, and my dad suggested this, and I watched it just recently, and it's 3 seasons. It's on Netflix. I'll read the season plots to you, and then I'll tell y'all at the end of it what I think, because the series begins with narration by John Rayburn. Sometimes you know something's coming. You can feel it in the air, in your gut, and you don't sleep at night. The voice in your head is telling you something is going to go terribly wrong, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. That's how I felt when my brother came home. Danny Rayburn returns to Islamorada, Florida for the 45th anniversary of his parents, Robert and Sally Rayburn's seaside hotel, the Rayburn House. A pier will be dedicated in their honor to mark the occasion. Danny is the black sheep of the family with a poor reputation among them, including his 3 younger siblings, John, Kevin, and Meg. John is a detective, the local sheriff's department. Kevin owns a local marina. Meg is an attorney, a local law firm. Danny wants to make his return permanent as he wishes to stay and help his parents at their end. Robert is reluctant to let Danny stay, but leaves it up to the 3 siblings to decide Danny's fate. The siblings decide against Danny staying, as they conclude that he will only break their mother's heart in the end. John breaks the news to Danny, but lies to him, telling him it was their father who wanted him gone rather than the siblings. Ultimately, Danny does not leave, although he gets a ride to the bus stop from John. Danny's confrontation with his father inadvertently causes Robert to have many strokes, eventually resulting in his death. The Rayburn's past full of dark secrets that are revealed throughout the season. Danny's dysfunctional relationship with his family primarily stems from the untimely death of his younger sister, Sarah. When he was a teenager, Danny took Sarah out on a boat. Her seahorse necklace fell in the water, and when she attempted to retrieve it, she drowned. Robert lost control and beat Danny over her death. Sally covered up the abuse by having John, Kevin, and Meg lie with the police about their brother's injuries. Robert's death opens the door for Danny to have a permanent job at the end. Danny appears to be changing his ways with hard work and dedication, which puts him in Sally's good graces. However, Danny's problem past is shown by his connection with his childhood friend, troublemaker Eric O'Bannon. The 2 begin siphoning gasoline from local docks for drug and human trafficking. Wayne Lowry. As they gain Lowry's trust, they are given larger jobs to complete. Danny eventually uses his job at the Rayburn house to front smoke cocaine for Lowry. John and the sheriff's department collaborate with DEA in an investigation into the death of an unknown woman in drug trafficking in Monroe County by Lowry and his men. The investigation leads John to Danny and his recent activities. While secretly investigating Danny, John finds Danny smuggled cocaine in a shed at Rayburn's house property. During a meeting among John, Kevin, and Meg, the 3 siblings conclude the only way to fix the situation and not put the family's business at risk with the feds is to move the drugs to Danny's home in Miami. Unbeknownst to Danny, they moved the drugs, replacing them with empty suitcases. The loss of the drugs puts Danny in a bad situation with Lowry, who believes that Danny has stolen the cocaine from him. Lowry sends a hitman to assassinate Danny, but Danny kills the hitman. Under pressure, Danny begins to act erratically. Danny tries to get to John by taking his daughter Jane out on a boat, giving her a seahorse necklace similar to the one that belonged to their deceased sister Sarah. John and his wife Deanna take this as a great threat to the family, so John sends his wife and children away for a few days. The seahorse necklace causes John to reach his breaking point. During the confrontation, John drowns Danny in the ocean. Distraught from murdering his brother, turns to Kevin and Meg for help. The 3 decide to cover up the murder by moving Danny's body. John eventually set a boat on fire to create an explosion that would frame Danny's death. Unsatisfied what she is told, Sally turns to a family friend and retired detective Lenny Potts to privately investigate the matter. In the aftermath of Danny's death, Meg moves to New York City to take a job with a large firm. Kevin reunites with his estranged wife Belle, who is now pregnant with their child, and John reunites with his family. The season ends with the arrival of Danny's son Nolan at John's home to find out what happened to his father. Okay, The most of these rundowns like this can't be completely thorough, but they didn't decide to. How did it say that? Seahorse. The three didn't decide to cover up the murder by moving Danny's body. John grounded him, and he called Meg. How'd that go? John drowned him, he called Meg. Meg comes out there. Turns out he's having a heart attack. He's freaking out. She takes him to the hospital. Goes back, calls Kevin. They go out there and they move the body, but it wasn't like something that they planned. Like, they just didn't know what to do. They was all freaking out. Season 2, Danny's death continues to haunt the Rayburn family. Wayne Lowry confronts John, claiming to have a tape of John's history to be used as blackmail against him. John's deputy, Marco Diaz, continues to question people in relation to Danny's death, including Eric O'Bannon. Meg returns from New York, John runs for sheriff, and Kevin continues to struggle with his business. Nolan and his mother arrive at the Rayburn house and meet Sally to discuss Danny. Through Nolan and Eve, the Rayburns learn more about Danny's past, including his asking Robert to borrow some money from a restaurant. Robert made him choose between that or continuing to send his money to Eve and Nolan for support. Ozzy, an old friend of Danny's from Miami, has gotten involved with Eve and works with her to appeal Meg's cancellation after her father's death of the payments to Eve for no child support. John tries to get the tape off Lowry, telling him to turn himself into DEA so he can arrest his contacts and his family will be protected. Lowry ends up about to do it, but backs down due to Kevin giving back some of the drugs Danny had. Lowry is killed by the father of one of the victims killed when he blew up a boat containing people they were trafficking. While John runs for sheriff, Marco gets closer to find Danny's killer. Marco, who used to have a relationship with Meg, grows to resent the Rayburn family for lying and telling contradictory stories. Eric O'Bannon tells Marco he has proof that John killed Danny. Kevin goes to see Marco to tell him that John killed Danny. Marco responds that John, Meg, and Kevin are all going to prison when Kevin murders Marco. Following Diaz's murder, Kevin seeks Roy Gilbert's help to cover up the murder. Gilbert engineers a plan to frame O'Bannon for the murder, but Kevin nearly loses his life in the process. The impending trial creates further rifts within the Rayburn clan. Meg vanishes, Kevin becomes further ensnared in Gilbert's shady machinations, and John is increasingly consumed by guilt for Danny's death. This was a great show all the way through. Like, I was on the edge of my seat. I didn't expect. There was a lot of turns and twists and stuff that happened that I didn't expect to happen. And then all of a sudden, about 3 episodes away from the last episode, it just went terrible. Like, it was almost like they didn't get renewed and found out about it. They didn't get a season renewal and found out about it while they were still recording the 3rd season. And they just done everything they could to wrap everything up real quick. And I didn't. It's a good show. It's worth watching, but it wasn't handled. The last little bit wasn't handled real well, in my opinion. And that's just, that's just me. Some of y'all, Daddy really enjoyed it, but I didn't. I felt like it was a lot of poor writing in those last few episodes, especially for such a good show. I mean, it really is. It's a really good, heart-wrenching. Like, you want Danny to do better, and you want him to get along. And he kills him, and it turns out, well, Danny's kind of screwed up some of the stuff he's done. I mean, it's a really good show. So there we go. We had Transformers, Moonrise Kingdom, and Bloodlines. That'll be all for this episode. I'll be making some more. I know I've missed a few weeks. I've been working on some stuff, trying to get stuff ready, but I'm gonna make a few today. Make a new video or two, a little bit different. Anyways, I appreciate it, everyone. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Remember to like, share, and subscribe.